Welcome to our short video about visas. This video is for people who are under 18, who are not South African citizens, and who want information about their visa options in South Africa. This includes children of people who have a Zimbabwean exemption permit. As a child or a young person who is not South African, it is important to know about your visa options in South Africa. A visa is a sticker issued in a person's passport by the South African Department of Home Affairs. The visa gives you the right to stay in South Africa. To understand your visa options, we will be moving through this chart. Let's start at the first step. The first step is to figure out which citizenship you hold. You could be a South African citizen, or a citizen of another country, or stateless. If you are a South African citizen, you should have a South African birth certificate, and you can apply for an ID when you are 16 years old. If you do not know which citizenship you hold, please watch our video on citizenship. Okay, once you know your citizenship, then the second step is that you must have a birth certificate from the country where you were born. If you do not have a birth certificate, please watch our video on birth certificates. The next step is about whether you have a passport. It is important to have a valid passport because it is inside your passport that the South African Department of Home Affairs will issue you a visa. Passports are issued by the country where you have citizenship. If you do not have a passport, you can contact your country's embassy in South Africa to apply for one. But if you think you may be a refugee, please get advice before you go to your embassy. Now, let's look at your visa options. As a child or a young person who is not South African with a passport from another country, you have different visa options in South Africa. If one or both of your parents have a work visa, then you could apply for a long-term visitor's visa. Or if you go to school or are studying in South Africa, you could apply for a study visa. A study visa is valid for as long as you are at school, college, or university. If one or both of your parents are permanent residents or South African citizens, you can apply for a relative's visa. Or, if one or both of your parents are permanent residents or South African citizens, you could also apply for a permanent residency. To apply for a permanent residency though, you will first need to have a temporary visa in your passport. Temporary visas include the long-term visitor's visa, study visa, and relative's visa. If one or both of your parents hold a Zimbabwean exemption permit, you can apply for a long-term visitor's visa, or a study visa, or a relative's visa. If you are stateless and born outside South Africa, you can apply for permanent residence. All of these applications for visas must be made through VFS Global at www.visa.vfsglobal.com/ZAF/EN/DHA. This website also gives you a lot of information on the different visa types. When a non-South African child is born in South Africa, the parents or caregivers should apply for a visa for the child as soon as possible. However, if you are the child of a non-South African and you do not have a visa in your passport, you need to either apply for a visa from your country of nationality or apply for a letter of good cause. This would allow you to then apply for a visa from within South Africa. You can ask more about this at your nearest Home Affairs office. If you left your country or cannot return to your country because it is not safe, you might qualify as a refugee. A refugee is a person who is outside their country and cannot return to their country because they are afraid of being persecuted due to their race, tribe, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a particular social group. Or if there's a general dangerous situation like violence or war. Applications for refugee status are made at the Refugee Reception Office. Children may be assisted by their parent or family member who is caring for them to apply for their refugee status. If a child is alone or unaccompanied, they must be assisted by a social worker to make this application. The child should be issued an asylum seeker visa while their refugee claim is being processed. If one or both of your parents are refugees or asylum seekers, your birth must be registered within 30 days of your birth in South Africa. Your birth certificate should then be submitted to the Refugee Reception Office in order to be added to your parents' refugee or asylum file. You may then be issued your own refugee certificate or asylum seeker visa. Do you want to know more about these visa options? You can read our How to Get Documented booklet. You might find our Zimbabwean exemption permit and children's rights booklet useful too. Currently, all Zimbabwean exemption permits are valid until December 2025. Both of these booklets can be found by visiting www.centerforchildlaw.co.za/howtogetdocumented. If you need help or more information about visas in South Africa, please contact us at centerforchildlaw@up.ac.za.